telling their story around Black History Month. Well, I decided to tell my story. Once again, let's take a trip back to time. We're going to take a look at my past, a look at as I traveled visiting my grandfather. First, is there someone here that remember me when I first came to Panama City in the first grade at Glenwood Elementary School?
I do.
Mr. Byron Clark.
Yes.
We've been together since first grade. I have a speech impediment. I stutter. It's real bad, seriously, real bad. And I have what they call a speech sound disorder. Back in the days, we call that tie tongue. And during that time when I was growing up, we used to travel to Vernon, Florida to see my uncles on his farm. And he had a mule. I loved to ride that mule. And I guess I was practicing to be a buffalo soldier. Well, when I go to Uncle Eddie and I tell him, Uncle Eddie, I want to ride the mule, I stuttered so bad that Uncle Eddie would say, hush up, stop, slow down, and I start over. But during that time, I've learned something from my grandfather, which I remember him saying one time. Now, he was from Vernon, Florida, and my grandmother, that's my grandfather, my grandmother was from Tate's Hale up near Apalachicola. And I remember going and asking grandfather, that was a real small thing. I asked my grandfather, I said, well, Granddaddy, you said you from Vernon and grandmother is from Tate's Hale. How did y'all meet? My grandfather looked at me. He wasn't no taller than 5 feet 4. And he said, I could hear it in his mind where he said, here come that knucklehead with all those questions again. So I asked him, and he called my grandmother and said, Lita, ain't you got something for this boy to do? Send him to the orange groves. She said, Albert, I done told you he's too small. So the moral of the story is that I learned a lot from my grandfather. Because my grandfather looked at me and he said, boy, I'm going to tell you this for the last time. If you walk in a straight line, it really wasn't that far. So I stood at him, and my grandfather never answered questions. He never answered questions. He always said, answer with something that caused you to think. And I bless him, and I take him from that day. Now my grandfather, my grandmother is gone on. And they was in Fort Pierce, Florida when they passed. But I can see them right now. They are still traveling in a straight line. Thank you.